In this video, I'm going to show you the sales revenue planner that I've created for your business. Whether you're a freelance translator, an interpreter, or a small business owner, I think that you'll find this sales revenue planner very useful for your business. As business owners, we all have to plan and project for the coming year and the coming quarter and the coming months. And so one of the most important things to do is to know how much money we plan to make. This is something, of course, that my accountant asks me every year. He says, give me the projections for next year. And I used to think this was such a chore until I figured out a way to do this that made sense to me. I've always claimed to not be a numbers person, but this sales projection sheet is really one of the best ways that I could think of in order to create those projections and also to track them. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is what this would look like if you were to get this planner. This is the demo annual tab here, or sheet, of course, and so this is certainly just for demonstration purposes, but this is what it would look like when you open it. I'm going to show you how you would use this in planning ahead in your business if you're trying to hit certain sales goals, tracking those goals later to see how you did. Did you hit those goals? Did you not? How to reassess that and how to tweak your projections so that you can meet your goals. And just to make it clear, these numbers shown here are not a reflection of those numbers, of the numbers in my business. These are also not suggestions for numbers that you should have in your business or prices that you should charge by any means. So please do not interpret it as such. But these numbers in here today are simply for demonstration purposes. So if you were to download the spreadsheet, you would go first to the Start Here tab all the way on the left side. And you'll see a little note here from me. It says, "Thank you for purchasing this digital sales revenue planner. Here's the link to the private access video to watch the tutorial and learn how to use it." And so while I'm going to go through some of the steps today, the video that comes with the actual planner goes much more in depth. It is something that you will be able to really open up and plan for your own business, because I'm going to go into further detail in that video. So you will be able to see that if you were to purchase this planner, and I'll put the link here so that you get it as soon as you purchase it. Also, as a way of saying thank you, if you purchase this planner, you will also get a one-time 10% discount towards the expense planner, which was made available as of April 19th, 2018. So it's actually meant to complement the sales revenue planner, and it's to project the expenses in your business so that you can really see the full picture of what you're working with. And then, of course, if you have any questions about anything, just feel free to email me about the planner or ask any questions that you might have. The next tab over is the Instructions tab. This tab is basically the breakdown of how you would set it up for yourself. But the video, like I said, will go much more in depth and kind of give you details about each of these steps. And then let's take a look at the demo tabs, because these are the most important examples of how you would use this. So this is what your overall annual picture or 30,000 foot bird's eye view would look like for the year when you try to project the sales revenue that you would have in your business. This is a breakdown, basically, of what you could do each quarter, each month, and so forth, so that you can really hit the goals that you want to hit in order to either go on vacation every year for 2 weeks, or in order to invest more in your business, to grow your business, to create larger profit margins. So the projections that you would make here and then the tracking that you would do later on are what really allow you to know what kind of goal you're shooting for and work towards that goal when you do the projects in your business that you do, or when you provide the services to the clients that you provide. So let's take a look here. If you look over at the left side, you're going to see here where it says services. There's a space here for 3 services. Of course, if you have more, you can add to this. If you have fewer, you can just leave these as they are. And you can always add to them later if you decide to add another service to your business one day. So in these listings here for service 1, 2, and 3. You can leave them as these if you know what they are already, or what you could do, and what I would do, is change this to the actual name of the service that you provide. So if you are a translator and you do both translation and editing, you could change the service 1 to translation, service 2 to editing, and then in the price column you would put your rate, whatever that may be. Whether you work per word, per hour, per project, whatever the case is, if you want to put in your minimum as one of the services, because oftentimes translators are asked to do minimum jobs that have, very few words, or they're just very small, and, whatever your minimum rate is, you could stick that in there if you choose. Or if you're an interpreter, you could put in here, your hourly rate, your half-day rate, your full-day rate, things like that. Whatever the case is, you can really customize this to fit your business and what you do. So for the demonstration purposes, I just basically, instead of putting, cents per word or a certain amount per hour, I just rounded this to be on the dollar. So however you price your services, this is, where you would manipulate this to fit your business. In this case, we're going to just work with, whole dollars. Also here, you're going to see under each quarter a quantity, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and then what that quantity at that price means as far as sales in your business. Okay, so no matter the services you provide, whatever the prices that you have for your rates would go here, and then your projections, this is where the work is done, the projections would come out right here. So we'll take first a look at let's say Q1, the first quarter of the year, January, February, and March. Let's say in January and February, March, you want to make, let's see, $2,250 in sales for this first service that you've listed, whatever that may be. For the second service, you want to make $3,000 in the first quarter, and for service 3, you want to make $7,500. Now, this is going to depend on you and what you are comfortable in making and earning. Of course, that can be made higher, made lower. If this is a part-time job, whatever the case is, you can totally customize this to fit what you do and how you want to work. So let's say service 1, you know that you charge $30 per project hour, whatever the case is. However you're going to break this down in your business, you would then decide how many can you do in January of that service or of that number. So if this is, let's say, per hour, $30 an hour or something like that, you can do 25 hours of this in January. This is where you would put the quantity. Or if it's $30 a minimum as a project or something like that, you can do 25 minimum jobs. Or if it's, something else, $30 per whatever the unit is, the quantity that you would do in January would go in here. The same thing for February, the same thing for March. Now I've just basically broken these down to be even across the board, 25, 25, and 25 for the first 3 months of the year, or the first three, or the 3 months in that quarter. But you can change that. If you have more time to work in January than say February, or let's say you're going on vacation for part of January, then of course this might be a lower number than February, or something like that. So this is where you can really make good projections, knowing what your schedule looks like, knowing your work capacity, how many hours you can work in a day, and so forth. And so you would do the same thing for service 2 and service 3. And once you do this across the board, if you decide to start up here at the top and do this for Q1, then Q2, then Q3, Q4, it should auto-populate these for you down here. So if you ever have a problem with that, you can always cross-check it and update as needed, but it should auto-populate for you. And then of course your quantity will also auto-populate, as will the sales total, depending on the prices that you've set. Okay? And you'll see that it goes all the way down through Q4. Then if you go over to the Q1 demo tab, you're going to see numbers here already set up at the top. And this is going to happen in these other tabs over here, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, automatically for you. But for demo purposes, we're just going to look at demo Q1, and I'll show you how this works. At the top here, it says Q1 goals. This is your sales goal for the quarter, the entire quarter. And of course, this will depend on what you've set it to be. So these numbers basically come from your Q1 goals that you set over in the annual tab. They've auto-populated, right? So you've got a total of $12,750 that you've set for yourself as a goal for the first quarter total, and then a breakdown throughout January, February, and March. You know, that's divided by 3, so that was pretty easy there, but you'll see that for January, February, and March on the Demo Q1 tab here at the top. This will auto-populate as you set those goals. And so then here you would need to go back and fill in service 1, 2, and 3, whatever your services are. And what's important here is the planning part. So the numbers here will remain at the top, but what you can do under these services and under the processes and systems and the marketing, this is where your planning takes place. What are you going to do to reach those goals? What do you need to do in order to hit the numbers that you need to hit? So for January, for service 1, you'll go back to January service 1 and you're going to say, I need to sell that 25 times in January in order to meet my goal of $750 for service 1, which it partly makes up that $4,250, right? So what are you going to do in order to market that? That's going to go down here in this box right here. This is where your planning goes. What kind of processes and systems do you need to have in place in order to meet that goal? You're going to put that right here. And so this is where really the core planning goes, how you're going to reach those goals and hit those numbers. You can put details about the service in these different boxes right here, these 3, all the way across the board, and then your planning could go here. This is very customizable, which is why it's not filled in here on the demo, because this is going to really pertain to how you want to plan this. I do have a blog post that's all about planning quarterly goals, so you might want to check that out as well on my website. And then finally, you're going to go over to the Q1 monthly. This is where you're going to see what you can do each month. So the demo for Q1 is here. It's a breakdown of the services. Here you go there's 3. You can always add to this, like I said, or remove any of these. And then the processes and systems and the marketing. And then if you go over to the monthly, you're going to see this broken down here by January, February, and March. This is the tracking part of the whole puzzle. So after, let's say, January has passed, you could do this every month to reassess and track, or you could do it every quarter. It's really up to you. Maybe starting out, you're going to want to do it every month just to get the hang of it and to really keep an eye on whether you're hitting your goals or not. And this is the point where you really want to reassess. So if you take a look at whatever you set up to do, the $4,250 sales income for January, and you want to go over here and track, did you hit that number? Did you hit the number for service 1? Did you hit the number for service 2 and service 3? If so, in this processes and systems, what you're going to want to do is decide what is it, what worked, what didn't work, what can be done better, and so forth. So this is where you're going to assess the processes and systems that allowed you to reach the goals for service 1, 2, and 3. And here is where you're going to assess, what did you do for marketing? Was the marketing strategy effective to reach this goal? These are the types of things you're going to assess for each month. If you hit the goal, first of all, yes, let's say for service 1 in January, you did do what you laid out, you set forth to do. You set out to do $750 for service 1 in January. You could put that here and put, this is maybe in parentheses, you could put what your goal was, and then here you could put what you actually made. So let's say you did $825. So yes, you met your goal, and you could even play with this even more, and you could highlight this number, let's say in green, to show that yes, you definitely did do a great job hitting that goal. You know, you could do that. Or let's say the same service in February, you wanted to hit a goal of $750. So I'm going to put the goal there, let's say in parentheses, and you came a little bit short and you only sold $715 worth. Again, I'm playing with these numbers. I'm not making multiples of 30 here, even though I know it's a $30 service we put down, but you get the point. Wherever you fall short, you might want to mark those in red. So that's a good way to do that. And then here is where you make your assessment for the services. And this is service 2. So perhaps let's take a look here. Service 2, is priced a little higher. Okay, so service 2 should have been $100 each. You wanted to hit $1,000. So sorry about that. Well, let's just change this one and say for service 2 in January, you didn't quite hit the $1,000 mark. What went wrong? What can you do better? And this section over here, the processes and systems and the marketing columns, these are where you make your notes and you do your tracking so that you can say, okay, this is what I need to do better on. I'm not really sure what happened here, where things fell apart, that I didn't meet my goal, or I was too busy with this other service that I charge less for. Maybe I should be spending more time trying to sell the service that I charge more for so that I can work maybe fewer hours, or you really make an assessment here of what works for you. And this is something that is going to be the key in moving forward with your projections and hitting your goals that you want to hit in your business and growing your business. And then, so these are just the demonstration tabs, but after that, you've got the ones that are blank just for you. So this is where you would fill everything in on the video with me if you were to download this. These are where your goals would fall into place for every quarter. There's Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. It's already set up for you with all of the months of the year and the quarters. And then you've got your tracking sheets here. This is where you're going to make your assessments at the end of every month or every quarter, and you're going to decide, did I meet those goals? Did I not? And this is such a huge help when it comes to setting goals and tracking in your business. So hopefully you find this to be a really powerful tool in order to project and plan for the sales and the growth of your business. Of course, you could make your own sheet if you like to, but if you'd like to pick this up, you can totally purchase this. It's downloadable, and the link is below. It's already done for you, so if you think this is useful for you or if you'd like to try it out, it's there for you. I'm hoping that this is also a really empowering tool so that you know where you're spending your time. What services are allowing you to make more money in your business, to work less perhaps. That's something else that you could think about and assess in this whole big picture. And hopefully this is even going to help you inform your decisions about maybe raising your rates one day. If you decide you want to raise your rates with your clients, you could use this tool to help you decide that. Is it time yet? Is it not? Are you okay where you are and you want to just keep the rates that you have? This is a tool that will help you to see that big picture. And as I always recommend, you can and you should reassess from time to time so that you can learn from what you've done and be able to grow from that, whether it's through your sales or just through a larger profit margin. Maybe you're not growing your sales, but you're using the expense planner that's also available and saying, okay, well, if I spend a little less but I keep my rates the same, my profit margins are actually growing. So the two tools are meant to work together. Hopefully you find them really useful. And if you have any questions, of course, as always, just send me an email.